Topic number 3. Let's see what we got now. It is not climate change. Hey, we got to talk about this. This one is, I mean, it wasn't planned when we did the script, but over the weekend a big story's blown up. The vigil lie. And I don't need, Mike mentioned it in the news, but you've got this girl who has made a lot of news. I got interviewed by a Portland radio station today. I know the Oregonian did a lot with it over the weekend. There's been a lot of discussion because you do have somebody who took a tragedy and used it for votes to win at SOU's presidency. And that you just can't get away from that fact. Now, there's all kinds of other debates and things going on, but it is an amazing story in the sense of people really kind of, it's the one thing over the last 3 days that people go, can you believe that? And I want to get into a little bit to what was that all about? You know, what was that all about? Was the story, I mean, I've had people tell me that it didn't deserve to be on the front page. It wasn't worth it. Who cares? You know, it's just a little interesting story. Other people, of course, all over the country think it's important. Was it a story?
It hit a nerve. People, the second they hear it, you can see their eyes perk up, and they're just, what the heck is going on? They're speechless.
You know, there's a part throughout this whole Virginia Tech massacre and the aftermath of it, and I finally read an editorial where somebody pointed to it and said, you know what, Americans have gotten to the point where they're almost like gravy train grievers. Something happens and it really isn't about us, and we want to make it about us. And this one especially kind of crystallized that for me because, you know, I used to live in Virginia. My daughter thought she was going to go to Virginia school. She does have friends in that area, and it really didn't hit us. I mean, we get the community and we're a part of it. But we live in Oregon. We're a million miles away. When that thing happened, it was a news story. I wasn't like immediately thinking of a person. Now you take that to a level of all the people around the Virginia Tech community who were hurt by it, but now the 32 families who lost a son or daughter, and then the injured people. Those are the people who are really grieving about it. That's the story. That's where this is. Americans need to recognize the boundaries of this isn't about us. It's about them. And then here, all the way out in SOU, not only do we have a kind of a vigil, which is great. It kind of shows that solidarity. But you had somebody going so far to tap into that grief that they're willing to stand up at a public thing and lie and say that their cousin had died, and then even go so much further as to name one of the victims to us and say that was indeed her cousin.
I think I understand what SOU was doing. There's a sense of community among students in college, regardless of which coast they're on or where they are. If something happens somewhere else, it has some sort of reverberating shockwave throughout the country. And the same thing happened at Columbine and other places. So I recognize that. What Brandi did was to take advantage of that, to try and get the sympathy votes. I personally think that she probably would have won had she not gone to that length. I think she went overboard, but I think that sort of shows a little bit about her character. But I have to tell you, she's apologized. I'm willing to get off, and move on.
Well, she clearly has to move on. It had a lot of ripple effect. Who knows? It sounds like there's just kind of like this scratch your head thing that you were talking about at SOU going on right now. Just. Wow.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's this. I mean, there's certainly those people who just think she's gone, as bad as Steve Bartman catching the ball from the Chicago fans, getting in the way of their World Series. Maybe that bad, but
she.
We got baseball in here. How did we get baseball in here?
Well, in Chicago, you can't say the name Steve Bartman without it. Maybe at SOU in 2 years we'll say, oh, that's a Freeman, and everybody will know it. I don't think
she's apologizing. You know what? We believe in forgiveness. We believe in redemption.
There's a side of respect here for even though we had to drag it out of her, we had to, set up. Here's, you're caught, but she did say, yeah, okay, I did it.
That takes courage.
Well, it certainly made it. I think it's going to have it over faster. And I think that was the best thing she did. The story was going to run whether she admitted to it or not. Right. It would have come out. It would have dragged on and been a much bigger deal had she not confessed. She certainly helped herself out that way. But, just the whole thing is the surprising part of it is just how it's just she is the prototype right now of how far we go to connect with things we don't really connect with. We're just uncomfortable saying, for instance, I didn't wake up the next morning and fear for my child's life at college. I guarantee you every parent in Virginia Tech did.
Yeah.
We can't compare
And
the
I
two.
thought about you because you have that Virginia roots, and I was
Sure.
like, I wonder if that's
And
got him.
and maybe if through the thing I found out one of my friends had a child there or something, then it would have brought the thing home. But when I was, for instance, I was deeply involved in the sniper story, and that was an intense story for me as a person and as a journalist back in Virginia. Coming out here, it wasn't that big a deal.
That was just something happening way
way
across
out
the
there.
country.
And so ironically, a year after I got here, there was the Ohio freeway shootings, and those hardly registered a beat. And I'm sure Ohio was gripped by fear. Here's a situation
But
where a
are we-
community is gripped by fear, but we can't pretend we are. It didn't impact us.
I get what you're saying. Are we just too callous, though? Or when you see the
No, because I think the Brandi Freeman thing shows how we have to have some boundaries. We go too far, and this is the damage. Emotionally, people feel manipulated beyond what they should have felt. I think it's probably good for us to recognize this.
And
this
is
isn't
there a
about us.
part the media is playing in this? In
Well, that's a whole nother
magnifying
topic.
those ripples?
And that we've been
Oh,
criticized
boy.
as now playing into that. So the media one is, I guess, another one for
Yeah,
another
we
day.
don't jump on other
I
politicians
forgot the
like we
best
jump
thing
on
that I
her.
brought because he's been rushing me so much today. So
Timekeeper.
Lay off with the bell, Tate.
get off the bell.
We'll just stop. when it's
Okay,
done.
let's go for it. We got some mailbags. We've talked. We have to give the readers their conversation, so I'll just say my cool
do
thing.
some
and-